The House of Drear, Chapter 17, Part 2. Mr. Small pulled out the paper on which he had drawn his first diagram of a triangle. With dotted lines, he extended the two legs of the angle until he had made a perfect cross. "That's it," said Pluto. "That is how it was done." After a moment, he continued. "The last thing a slave was taught was never ever tell the cross reading. Not to another slave, not to a free man, not even to his kin. That's why so few people ever heard about it. Slaves took the reading to their graves. That's why whenever I chance to pass a graveyard and see all them crosses, I can't help but pause a while, just looking." After a time, Mr. Small spoke. "Please read for me now, Mr. Skinner, the metal and wood cross the Darrows made." Pluto held out the cross in his palm. "This way, with the four triangles in place," he said, "the cross reads nothing. But pull the cross apart and look at one triangle at a time. Well then, each will read. Here." He pulled apart the four triangles. Then, using Mr. Small's pen, he drew a cross on the side of one of the bookcases. "Take the top triangle on the right side first," he said. He slapped one metal triangle in place on the bookcase. The peg sank deep into the wood. "One leg points north, the other to the east. That means flee east from where you found it." "Take the second triangle, the one on the bottom right," he said. He slapped it in place. "One leg points south, the other to the east. Flight is south." He placed the top left angle on the outline of the cross. "It points north and to the west. You must flee north." "And the bottom left angle will point south and to the west." He placed it, completing the cross. "The flight is west." Thomas and Mr. Small stared at the finished cross with eyes that could see it as running slaves must have seen it. "What a wondrous thing," Mr. Small said, "to read freedom from so simple an object as a cross." "Yes, yes," said Pluto, "and a slave might find 10 different triangles made from sticks, animals, even bits of rags, in one single night of running through woods, along streams, tunnels. Each time he came upon one, he would stand before it, make the outline of the cross, and continue on." "I can see how he would know east or west," said Thomas, "because that's the same as going left or right. But how is it he would know which was north or south? On a vertical surface, north would be up and south would be down on the ground." "Oh, Mr. Drear thought it all out," said Pluto. "Up meant for a slave to go straight forward from the place he stood, and down meant he should turn around and head straight away from the place he stood." Pluto continued. "A slave might twist and turn west, south many times, but always heading for the same place, and it was the last hiding place after a slave left the Drear house." "What place?" Thomas wanted to know. "What place would they all go to?" Mr. Pluto stared at him. So did Mayhew. "Why, the Negro church, son," said Mr. Small. "The Freeman's church. A slave might hide among its congregation, and no hunter could find him. Wherever the church was, the pieces of the cross would lead him to it." "Father, it's getting late," said Mayhew. "You trying to hurry me?" Pluto asked. Pluto said. He looked hard at Mayhew. The talk of the cross and the fact that he could read its meaning, when not even Mr. Small could, had seemed to strengthen Pluto. "What was I talking about?" he asked them. "Where was I?" "You were talking about painting that cave wall," said Thomas, "and then I think you said you lay down." "That's right," Pluto said. "I did lay down and I did sleep. I don't think I dreamed about a thing that whole night. You don't know what rest that was for me. I was plagued by nightmares. Old Drear, he used to visit me there in my sleep. Sometimes, oh, in the dead of winter, sometimes he would come and even wake me up with his noise, scare me so. But not lately. No, it's like he knows I'm old and tired. Father." Pluto waved his hand impatiently at Mayhew. "So then I slept good that night and woke up the next morning ready to work with whatever came to my mind to do. Sometimes I had to make my own work, but the first thing I saw was that wall. It was like I never even painted it. The color, that grayness of dye, the shade of shell or seeping limestone, it just bled right through my white paint, and then I knew."